Hey everyone, Chipper here, and today I'm here to celebrate 6 months of being in the Battle for Bikini Bottom community. So it was on the 21st of June when I did my very first verified speedrun for any percent. So what better time to talk about it than now, as well, hopefully when this gets put up it'll be Christmas Day. So here's your Christmas gift from me. Anyways, so this is me mostly unscripted video, so there will be a bit of and whatnot. Most of you guys should be used to it by now if you're any of my regular viewers of my stream. But yeah, so we'll be talking about what we've been able to do the last 6 months, just my journey so far, kind of just like how I got into the community and whatnot, and just generally just talking about my plans for 2021 as well, as I am far from done from speedrunning this game. I have a lot of big plans ahead, and as long as this pandemic behaves for the most part, hopefully we'll be getting through with it all. So let's begin. So I'm going to be starting off by briefly going over kind of like how I started, like what made me want to join the community. So because I thought that might be a bit interesting. I've mentioned it a couple of times in passing on my streams, but I thought giving a proper explanation would be better, especially for those who maybe aren't so familiar with me. So here's a little bit of a backstory to what made me want to join the BFBB speedrunning community. So I was first made aware of the community back in 2019. When I discovered Shift and his speedrunning videos and stuff. So at the time I think I was still doing Serious Sam speedruns. Either Serious Sam or Portal, I can't quite remember now off the top of my head. Either way, I was pretty much mostly just doing speedruns just for the fun of it, rather than, actually trying to go for verifying my own run, get my runs verified and whatnot. So for the most part, it was just a casual thing that I would do on occasion. But yeah, I was aware of the community, and honestly, it was quite amazing to me that BFBB, a game that I've loved since childhood, was still being actively played by an active community of speedrunners, which I thought was crazy. And I always had this thought about this desire to speedrun it at some point, and at the time, obviously because I was playing other games as well as just, I wasn't sure if I would fit in the community, because that was one of the problems I was having with speedrunning, was the communities that I joined, I just didn't feel like I quite fit in, or I just didn't feel like, I wouldn't say like I didn't feel welcome per se, but I didn't feel right with how things were going. So yeah, it was a bit of a tough time for me to try and get used to different communities, but alas, here we are. But yeah, so I jumped forward a couple of months to about February, and this was just after I finished doing a 72-hour charity streaming event. Although just to go off track just for a moment, I will be doing that next February. That'll be one of the things for 2021. I'll explain it in a moment. Anyways, I digress. So I just finished my the charity event when the lockdowns kicked in, and at this point I had basically burnt out on speedrunning Portal and Serious Sam games. I'd mostly given up on Serious Sam back in winter, mostly because I had commitments with esports at the time. So I was with a CS:GO team representing my university, which yeah, that went well. Although I'm not don't really want to talk about that for now because yeah, it gets a little personal. But anyways, so I was burnt out for the most part on speedrunning, and I didn't know what to do because I wanted to keep up with the speedrunning, but there was nothing I felt like I could do. But that was when I remembered something. Back in Christmas time, I'd played through both the movie game and Battle for Bikini Bottom, 100% in both games. And that's when I thought to myself, hey, wouldn't it be a fun idea to speedrun this game? I've been thinking about it for a while, so why not, go forward with it? So I managed to rediscover Shift and his videos, and at the time he'd not long released a beginner's tutorial, like literally days before, so I thought, this is perfect timing, it was meant to be, so I decided then now was the perfect time for me to learn to speedrun the game, and that was how my journey begun. So I spent about 3 to 4 weeks roughly, and I went through, learnt the speedrun, spent at least 4 to 6 hours a day practicing it, learning the strats, going over what I'd already learned to make sure that I was doing well with them. And then I did my very first speedrun, which, if I recall correctly, was a 2-hour, 2-minute run, which, for a first run, which was mostly like a test run, I consider it, just to see what my skill, like if I was ready then to do a proper speedrun. So yeah, technically that was my first speedrun, but it's not the one that it's not a verified run then. Anyways, so I then went and did a second speedrun, which I beat the time shortly after. I think it might have been on the same stream as well. I haven't got the VODs anymore, so they've been lost to time, besides one clip. And that would be the Sponge Glide. So yeah, the Upward Sponge Glide was done on my second ever attempt at the game, and is still to this day my most popular clip, closely followed by a certain cat that killed my run, but nah, I'll mention that in a few minutes now. So yeah, I eventually did a 151, and that stream in general was just really good. I enjoyed it a lot, because the amount of support I had from fellow runners and just people in the community was just amazing. And that's why I knew I finally found somewhere where I belonged. I found a community which, I was passionate about. It was about a game I loved. I've played pretty much all my life. I've been playing the game since I was about 6 years old, so 14 years of playing the same game over and over again. It's mad. And yeah, I have not regretted joining the community for a moment. I've had many highs, I've had many lows. There have been times where I've almost completely burnt out on the game because the grind got tough. But when the going got tough, I got going and I broke through. Now I'm sitting, with a 1 hour 11-minute PB now, which, if you compare it to what I did 6 months ago, that's really, really good. Yes. So yeah, that's kind of like a brief summary of just how, after the beginning of my journey and just the journey in general. And yeah, so let's talk about the speedruns themselves, what I think of the speedruns, what I think of my own performance and whatnot. So, in terms of the actual speedruns themselves, like, it's definitely one of the hardest games I've had to learn to speedrun. And I would definitely go out there to say it's definitely one of the harder 3D platformer speedruns to learn, if not one of the hardest. Even the beginner, even the beginner tutorials, with armed with that, it was quite tough. But I pushed through, I persevered, and you know what? It's a really fun run. I enjoy the speedrun a lot. There are parts of it which I'm a bit more meh with, but we all have our parts that we like and we don't like, so... But I won't delve into that too much, because that's a topic I'd like to cover another day, so... But yeah, from a beginner's perspective, I've enjoyed every moment of learning the game, the satisfaction I get of being able to learn new tricks or get a new best time. It's been quite the experience. I've really enjoyed myself. And, I can only speak for myself here, but, I thought the tutorial that Shifted put out was amazing, and I think he couldn't have done it at a better time. Especially with lockdowns happening. Obviously, I know he didn't plan for that. Nobody did. It was a mess, but hey, it's entertained a lot of people. It's helped get a lot of people into the community, including myself. And yeah, we owe a lot to him, surprisingly. But yeah, so in terms of my general performance, there's definitely some things I've done really well, I'd say, and other things I haven't. So I think in terms of my persistency to keep pushing myself onwards is quite, I think I've done really well in that regard. I've kept a bit of a routine going, try and make sure I stream, on a consistent basis to try and, do my runs and, do them, to try and put in the attempts and put in the hours to try and do some good, try and improve my time. And another thing I would say I've done pretty well, personally, would be the fact that, I took the time and effort to try and do the charity event that we did a couple of weeks back as of recording this. So for those who didn't know, back at the end of November, I'd spent a weekend fundraising money for a charity called Special Effect. Now this is an annual tradition that my gaming society does, so we try to raise money for any means necessary, and it was very successful. And for those who came to watch or donated to the cause, thank you so much for tuning in on that. I know I've been saying that a lot at the time, but no, it really did mean a lot to me. You guys were amazing, and yes, I did mangle myself up doing it, especially given the TSSM 12-hour speedrunning challenge that I did, where I ended up learning no mini skip, the NMS category of TSSM, and performing a speedrun in about 12 hours. It was a fun challenge. It was grueling. It was tough, but it felt good finishing that run. So yeah. So yeah, in terms of fundraising, that was probably another highlight and another thing I think I did well. As I said earlier, I'm hoping to do another one again in February, where we'll be doing hopefully a 72-hour event. But we'll see how that goes. I'll be letting you guys know in another video, hopefully closer to the time, a bit more detail on what's going to be happening with that. I have some big plans I want to try and do for it. I don't know how it's going to pan out, but hope if it does go, if what I'm planning does work out, I will certainly let you guys know, because I think it'll be really cool to see. But yeah, so let's go to let's start talking about the negatives, because there's plenty of, because where I have done good in many aspects of the run, like I said, my persistency and general execution of tricks when I do them is really good. I think some of the things I think one of my biggest problems I've been having with speedruns is my mindset. Now, it's an interesting thing to mention, and I won't go into too much detail of this, as I'd rather either cover it in another video, or I'd rather point you guys to videos which have already been made by people who've done the research, and there are some good videos. There's one specifically done by Carl Jobst a while back, where he does talk about mindset and the importance of it for speedrunning. But I always generally find that I'm kind of pessimistic on myself. I'm very harsh on myself, and a bunch of you guys have pointed it out to me on stream, and that's something I want to change for the new year. There's a few goals I've set myself, and that's one of them. Is I want to try and work on my general mindset when it comes towards the speedruns, and not to get as upset with them, and to try and embrace, the positives. What positives I do get from the runs, embrace them as much as I can, to keep my morale up, and make sure I don't burn out or get too frustrated. Because I've had it's been a common occurrence, a fairly common occurrence, where I've just got myself really frustrated, and I wouldn't be able to perform then for the rest of the stream. And it's not fun for you guys, nor is it fun for me, to be in that sort of state. So it's something I need to improve on. Training is another thing as well. I've been working on ways to improve it, the way I practice and warm up and train, in order to maximize my efficiency, as well as just get the most, get the best out of the time I have. So that's starting to come together now. I'm beginning to do more offline practice and attempts, so I'm hoping to start a new YouTube series called After Hours. So this little series will be my offline sessions, mostly gameplay oriented with a little bit of commentary on the side. So you guys can just, check out if you want to see, the way I practice and that, or if you want to, just see me cover various random topics that, maybe I can't talk about specifically on Twitch, because there are a lot of things I'd love to talk about, but I simply can't on Twitch. Whether or not it's something that interests you guys, I'm not too sure, but it's there if you guys want to check it out. So I'm hoping to make a video at some point where I'll be going over that sort of stuff. So stay tuned for that. Let's see now, what else is there? Consistency is the other one, but given the difficulty of a lot of the tricks you gotta do in the speedrun, that one just you improve your consistency over time, so I'm not too concerned about that. I just gotta make sure I'm practicing on a regular basis, and making sure I do good practice. And yeah, I think that's a general summary of it in terms of the stuff that I think I can improve on. There probably are other things I could probably think of after this, but for now that's kind of my to-do list of things I need to work on. For sure. So, and yeah, which leads us now to my plans for 2021. God, I almost forgot the year. 2020's been going on for too long. But no. So, in terms of my plans for 2021, I am definitely continuing the live streams. Whether or not, obviously, how I'm going to be going about with my schedule is going to be probably quite a bit different. As I'm going to have a lot of commitments now up until summer with group projects and other coursework related stuff, but once I get my timetable I'll be able to work around that, so that's not a big deal. You guys will be notified on that closer to the time. I'm Also hoping to stream different categories of BFBB. So I still haven't decided as of recording this what category I want to cover, but it's in the pipeline that it's looking likely I might do Hundo for a bit. No guarantees though, I'm still very much considering things. But yeah, so I'm going to be probably spending the next few weeks looking around at different categories and just start learning stuff. So come the new year, then we can switch things up a little bit from any %, because I enjoy any %, but I need to take a break from it because it's been a tough grind, and I need a break from it. It's been a tough grind, especially these past couple of months have been, the past 2 months especially, have been really tough. It's been really difficult for me to keep my consistency up because more work piling up for me, as well as just the times are getting harder to beat, even with all the time save potential I'm sitting on, which is like a 5-6 minutes worth of time save I'm sitting on, and I still can't PB. But it just means that any run could be the run. You know, it could be the run that gets me a new PB, it could be the run that gets me a sub 110, but we don't know. But yeah, so I'm going to be changing up the categories. I might even, later on in 2021, maybe even switch up the games. Because I know some people have been asking me about if I'm going to be continuing doing TSSM runs. And to that, I want to say maybe. At the moment though, there's no immediate plans for the new year for me to be going back to TSSM, but it's certainly a game I want to do. I do want to try out for real and not do a 12-hour challenge on, because that almost, well, I swear, almost give me carpal tunnel for that. So yeah, fuck you, tunnel jumps, or slide jumps. I mean, slide jumps. Yeah, slide jumps are horrible. But yeah, TSSM will happen eventually. I don't know when, but at some point it will. But for now, it'll just be me switching between different categories. So I'll be doing any % still, but I'm gonna be doing other categories on the sides just to try and, you know, break it up a little and just switch it up. Keep things fresh and help me not burn out on any % and on the game in general. So there's gonna be that. I'm hoping to eventually like design some more emotes and stuff, because I want to try and push now in the coming year to try and continue to grow the channel. The channel's grown substantially over the past 6 months, thanks to you guys. It's been, I think it's grown like it's quadrupled in size in terms of the follower base. It's been amazing, really. I can't thank you guys enough for it, because, you know, thanks to you lot, I'm now affiliated with Twitch. I'm starting to make a little bit of revenue from the streams. Not that I really push it, because I mainly do it for a hobby, and either way, you don't make that much money anyways, outside of getting subscriptions, which even then I don't really get that much of anyways, so I don't really care. But I want to try and continue to push growing the channel, and just, you know, to be able to open up some more opportunities for, you know, some really cool content to be made. And speaking of content, I'm hoping to be making some more YouTube videos in the future, both related to speedrunning or just general gaming or just other topics that I want to talk about. I'm also hoping to open up a second YouTube channel where I'll be archiving all of my Twitch VODs, because there's so many VODs that I've lost, like pretty much everything besides one or two VODs and entire like little segments are all gone. So I think to better document things, I want to try and just for archival purposes, I want to try and back everything up on YouTube as well as on BitChute, which is an old tech platform, which is a good alternative for YouTube. I do recommend you check it out. So I'll be trying to push for that as well, and it's gonna be the similar deal with social media. I want to try and be a bit more active on social media sites like Twitter, Minds, Gab. So a combination of both mainstream and old tech social media platforms, so you have a choice on what you want to follow me on, as well as I want to try and help support those old tech platforms, because, well, just to try and just to show people there are options outside of, you know, the typical Silicon Valley social media sites. But yeah, so yeah, I'm hoping to start setting all that up properly and start making good use of it to both advertise for the live streams, content, and just other random shit I do. So there's that. So yeah, I think that pretty much sums things up. So it's pretty much reaches the end. But before we go, I do want to give some people a very big shout out. So I want to shout out first and foremost Captain Colonel. For those who don't know, Captain Colonel has been a frequent guest on my live streams. He's been my housemate in my uni accommodations for this year, and he's been so supportive, and he's been there for me when I've needed someone to flipping, you know, help me out, or, you know, be there for me, because, you know, it's been a tough year, and it's good to know that you have someone who's got your back and you've got theirs. It's been tough, and Captain Colonel, like, I would have struggled a lot more, both in my uni work as well as my live streams, without him, because he's been such a big support. He's been such a good friend. You know, he deserves a good shout out at the very least. But yeah, and another person I want to shout is Obscure Mouse, who's been my sole moderator for my Twitch stream over the past few months. He's been with me almost since the beginning, since I started my journey into BFBB speedrunning. He gave a bit of a short story of how he found me. It would have been from the Upwards Sponge Glide clip. a lot of my regulars came from that clip. It seemed to have rumors and words got spread about it, so he quickly found me, and yeah, he eventually then became my moderator for the chat, and he's been doing a really good job. Granted, it's always been sod slow with him, where bots show up when he's not around, but otherwise he's done a really good job. He's been another massive supporter, and, you know, he's a really good kid. I'm glad to have him on as a moderator. He's been a really good, really big help, and someone who's just helped me, you know, push myself to keep on going with the speedruns. So thank you, man. I really do appreciate your help. And yeah, and another person I want to shout out as well is Mort and Richard Sage, two fellow streamers. One who's a pixel artist and an employee of Mojang Studios. The other, an OOT speedrunner. Both of them have been absolutely incredible people. Richard Sage has always been the sort of speedrunner I'll go to. I'll watch his streams whenever I'm feeling a bit down, or, you know, just feeling a bit, you know, demotivated. I'll watch his streams. He's one of the most wholesome speedrunners I know, and he's the sort of person, he's an inspiration. To be just straight up, he's just an inspiration, and he's a big figurehead that I look up to and he's one of the big people that, that gives me the motivation to keep on pushing on with my speedruns, to do better, to improve myself, both speedruns and as a person. And then Mort then he is such a great guy, such a great pixel artist, and he's been a really good supporter. He's always been nice to his community and to a lot of his fans, and I've been treated, no differently. He's been an incredible person to know. He was somebody who inspired me to get into pixel art. So without him, all the pixel art aesthetics, all the pixel art overlays I use, all that sort of stuff, I would never been able to learn to do if it wasn't for him inspiring me to get into that hobby. And for that, I thank him for that, because he's been an inspiration for many, and he's inspired me a lot. And last but not least, I want to give a big shout out to Shift, and for all the hard work he has done for the BFBB community, especially this past year. He has done so much for the community. I might be new to the community, I might be new, but I can tell just how passionate about this game he is. With all the hard work he's put in, with the documentaries, the any percent tutorial, he has done so much hard work, and he deserves all the praise in the world for that. Because without him, I don't think this community would even be here, or at the very least, it wouldn't be nearly as big as it is. And without him, I wouldn't have never discovered this community. I would never have even considered speedrunning Battle for Bikini Bottom. So thank you, dude. You've done so much to inspire myself and many other beginners to take on the challenge of learning the speedrun, pushing ourselves. And and I know you may have doubts and you think you could do more, but seriously, man, you've done so much for this community, and you deserve all the praise and all the thanks in the world from everyone. Anyways, that pretty much wraps up everything for this video. I know it's quite a long video. We've been going on for about half an hour, so I'm going to be wrapping things up. If you have stuck to the end, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all have a very, very Merry Christmas. I hope you get what you've wanted. I hope you spend some wonderful time with your friends, your family, even given the circumstances that we're all in. I hope you guys stay safe, stay strong, and most importantly, stay chipper. Merry Christmas, everyone. I'll see you soon.